development camp is a great opportunity for young players, whether inside the organization already or potential participants in the organization in the future, to get to know the system, get to know what it takes to be a pro, get to know the coaching staff, get to know the differences between amateur hockey, pro hockey, college hockey, pro hockey. Development camp is actually a great opportunity for these players to show what they can do and maybe be a part of the organization someday.
It's so funny, the margins between one league to the next are so thin, yet not at all. If you can't make those small little adjustments, you kind of get left behind, and that is what a lot of these weeks are about, is figuring out which kids have that extra gear, where can you make the extra bit up, and those are the guys that separate, and those are the guys that end up at training camp, and then back next year, and then pushing for a pro contract, and then pushing for the NHL.
Isn't that crazy?
When you have a team like the Avalanche who's in a cup window, and the Avalanche are the odds-on favorites to win the cup again next year, you're not looking for that next bright star to go into your lineup immediately. You're not looking for that immediate hope of the future if, say, you're a team that's been out of the playoffs for 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years. If you're the Buffalo Sabres, I think the emphasis on development camp might be a little bit better. There may be a little bit more excitement around it than it is for the Avalanche. This is all long-term here. So I think from that perspective, you're just looking in little increments. What pieces can we put together for possibly a player that could fit into the organization in the future?
Gianni Fairbrother. I'm from Vancouver, BC. I'm wearing number 5, and I played in Laval last year. I was drafted by Montreal. Grew up playing in Vancouver, North Van, and then when I was 9 or 10, played at Burnham Winter Club for the rest of my minor hockey, and then ended up going to Everett, which is in Washington, and playing in the WHL for 4.5 years there, and then made the move when I was 21 to pro in Laval, and I've been there for the last 2 years, and then I got traded last week, so now I'm here. Caught me off guard a bit. I was getting home from the gym and was getting a call from a random number, so I didn't answer it because there's a lot of spam calls and stuff nowadays. And then I went in the shower, and then I came out, and my agent gave me a call and just kind of let me know what had happened and that I was traded. And then I got a call from some of the Avalanche personnel, and they just kind of let me know they're happy to have me and whatnot. And then a couple days later, I was on a plane to here for Dev Camp.
Thank you, guys. You're welcome. I'll see you tomorrow.
I remember at those development camps in those early years, the team just wanted to see, the organization wanted to see, how are these kids showing up to camp? What kind of shape are they in? And that first year, when it wasn't really expected, even for some of the return prospects, there were a lot of sticks on knees and tongues hanging out. But it's just funny because we've seen those guys kind of get used to that over the years. But I will always remember that first development camp where we saw the fitness testing for the first time, and it caught a lot of guys off guard. And funny for us, probably less funny for them.
Seems to give her a level of freedom now that she's a Grand Slam champion. Let me take you back 1997.
I'm Jason Polin. I played at Western Michigan University, and I'm from Holt, Michigan. So both my older sister and older brother played hockey, so that's how I kind of got into it. My dad started building the rink in the backyard and started skating when I was around 2 years old. So just from there, just kind of took off. Played in Lansing a little bit growing up, and then eventually moved down to Detroit AAA. Luckily enough, my parents were willing to drive me down there every day, so played down in Detroit AAA, ended up going to Cedar Rapids in the USHL, played there for 3 years, and then ended up at Western Michigan for 4 years, and now I'm here. I think it's a winning culture. You see the players that they have here and their expectations to win the Stanley Cup. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here, is because that winning culture. I want to be a guy that can help them and win the Stanley Cup. And if I can get to that point and be one of those guys to do that, then that's my goal. But I would just say that the staff and the management here too it's incredible. They're first class, and they've handled the situation so well, and that's why I just felt so comfortable with signing here. So it made a pretty easy decision for me.
Every 3 minutes, kick you up a half. So 2.5, 3, 3.5, keep going up. Your job, you got to stay over 70 RPMs. I'll take care of everything else. At the end of 3 minutes, I'll raise you up another notch, and then I'll also come by and take a sample from your ear. Your heart rate's going to be up there.
Colby Ambrosio from Welland, Ontario. I'm a center and right wing, and I was drafted here in 2020. Yeah, just to come here and grow. I think that's kind of what everyone has in mind when they're coming here. You're going to come here and learn from the best. And this is my second year here, and I've taken some good qualities back to my team back in Boston College. But yeah, development camp was just for growth, to learn from, like I said, the best of the best, and to take just a little something back with you. Even if it might not be everything, you might not remember everything, but just if there's a little something that you can take back with you, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they call it development camp for a reason. I think it's really people think it's kind of a tryout type thing, but really people just need to look at it as a development opportunity. And you look at the drills we do out there, and it's all skills stuff and just stuff that you can take back to your team and just improve your game.
It's not even that hard, guys. It's not even that hard.
My name's Sam Malinski. I'm from Lakeville, Minnesota. I'm a defense, and I played at Cornell University last year. I liked hockey, didn't love it up until maybe my junior year of high school. That's when I played hockey and football, and I ended up quitting football my sophomore year, and that's when I really started to focus on hockey. And after my senior year of high school, went to Cedar Rapids for up until Christmas, then went to Bismarck from there. And then it was in my second year, right around November, when I committed to Cornell, and then went and played my 4 years at Cornell. And here we are.
He was at like 93 when like mid-10. I think he's getting
It's like
free.
155.
Dude, but I don't get it. Like, I think that went up because like I was fine.
I was some sweat dripping down my hands, were like slipping on the handles.
Yeah, I think we'll go with 13. I got to like eat.
Shower.
hour, so.
Oh. Yeah, there should be towels over there. So this is a kid, we actually talk about him a lot on our network and different things that we do as someone that we really like. The effort is the thing that to me jumps off the page the most, is that, I mean, just such a high motor, doesn't ever, even out here in development camp, there's no drills that you see him kind of go through at 3/4 speed or anything like that. And again, that's something that, thinking back to these last couple of years, that's what you want to see these kids do is, can you bring the effort? You're out here with a lot of really good hockey players, and can you bring the effort? And that for me, with Ambrosio, is something that he's always had, but you just see the skill get better and better, and the motor is still there. So again, someone for me that I'm really excited about, because he does the thing that you can't teach, and it's the effort, and it's the try hard and all that stuff. And we've been able to see him kind of refine his skills down in these last couple development camps that he's been at.
His development camp at Point A in 2020, and then to now, how far has he come? And what is a great program like Boston College doing to help him improve as a player? And I think when you talk about Boston College, Boston University, the University of Denver, these are the top echelon colleges that make players better. And I think that when you're looking at drafting players, you see the very bare bones, the very basis, and things that they could grow into. And I think Ambrosio is one of those players that you can, again, see measured steps of his development along the way. And I think that college hockey, in a conference like Hockey East especially, benefits a player like that more than anything else.
Yeah, obviously it's a winning culture. I think it's pretty easy to see that. And I've seen a lot of maturity and a lot of people handling themselves really good on and off the ice. And obviously that's something that they preach. So that's obviously an organization that I want to be a part of, and hopefully someday it happens. I'd love to have a great season at BC this upcoming year, and then signing with the Avs. They took a chance on me in 2020, and I want to prove them right and come here and just work my butt off and just continue to work hard every day and make my dreams come true.
When you're drafted by a team like the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs, that pressure is always greater than I think when you're drafted anywhere else. So I think for him to come to a new place, to get a fresh start and show what he can do, I think he's actually been one of the standout players so far in development camp.
For him being a guy that I didn't know a ton about when the Avs got him, he's really impressed me this week. He moves really well pretty quickly. I understood why this was a guy that the Avs were going to be interested in.
Yeah, I think it's just been obviously like the last two years I've been wearing Montreal gear, and then I got traded, so it's been cool to put on a new jersey and whatnot and kind of feel that and just explore the facilities here and stuff. So it's been a pretty good week for me.
Got Adam. Adam.
My former teammate invited him on, which was my captain, and in my sophomore year he came here, and he had only good things to say about the organization and about their dedication.
The college free agent frenzy, we'll call it, has increased over the years. The past decade, there's been more emphasis put on college free agents, when before it was all drafting out of Canadian junior hockey. Sam Malinski, for example, was probably one of, if not the most sought after college free agent, not drafted, able to sign anywhere, and the Avalanche were able to pick him up. He's been one of the standout players here at camp, without a doubt. And again, you don't want to get anybody excited too quickly, but you want to overcook him. But I think a player like Malinski may be further ahead of other players around, which is why he'll crack an AHL lineup quicker and maybe find his way into an NHL lineup at some point.
Yeah, I think culture is really important. That was something we really had pride in at Cornell too. So, culture is a big part of a winning team, and I think that kind of shows why Colorado has been such a great organization in the past, and obviously it's going to help them moving forward too.
Funny because we've seen the Avs in the last couple of years kind of be drawn to some of these kids who are, leadership type, really committed to what they're doing, to trying to get better. And I think when you've seen those players come into the organization, we see a lot of the similarities. Like I was just talking about with Malinski, I think we've seen a lot of the same thing with Polin, where he just looks a little bit more, polished is a word that you hear a lot of scouts use, but whatever that word is that you want to use, more ready, more mature. That was something that I, again, noticed. These can be intimidating weeks for some of these kids. It's your first time getting NHL coaching, talking to NHL GMs, especially some of the personnel that the Avs have in the organization. These weeks can be a little bit overwhelming. He's someone to me that I thought this week looked very confident, looked very comfortable, and kind of translated to a little bit cleaner play on the ice, which again is something that you want for a player that you're hoping can make the jump to full-time professional.
Yeah, just say stick to the process. I wasn't a drafted player. I went undrafted, and I didn't let that set me back. That just made me take my drive even further. And it's a lot of work, but in the end, it's worth it.
Just know that the reality is that not everyone's going to make it, especially when you're talking about at the professional sports level, right? So these weeks are always really interesting because you have players from all different levels, whether it be major, junior, college, ECHL, American League, or, depending on what kind of prospects you have, legitimate NHL talent. And really none of these guys are, if you're at a development camp, you're probably not pushing for an NHL roster this year. And the unfortunate reality is only the highest top 0.5% make it to the NHL. So you look at these kids and unfortunately the vast majority of them probably won't ever get at least an extended NHL career beyond just a couple of games. But you try to take the positives out of what you can. You get to work with NHL coaches for a week and improve your game and get incrementally better. But as awesome as it is to get to development camp and be here, and it is an amazing experience for those kids, the reality is that getting here is step one on a very, very, very long journey. And it's grueling and it's brutal. And that's, both the good and bad of sports, right? That's what makes it so emotional. That's why we all love it so much, is because it's so hard to get to the top, and it's so exciting and it's so unpredictable. But that is the tough reality of this week, is you get to see all of them at the beginning of the week and they're all so excited to be here. But the reality is that the vast majority of them won't ever quite get there.
Stay positive. Try not to be too hard on yourself and too critical, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are looking at you in a way and want to critique everything. So it's important to kind of stay positive within yourself and to always, try to achieve the best and not be too hard on yourself.
I hope I'm just able to put a healthy season together and whatnot, and I think if that can be done, then I would like to be able to contend for a roster spot at some point, but it's a long road, so if that takes 1 year or 3 years, it doesn't really matter as long as, we get to that point at some point. So just going to continue working and seeing what happens.